Of all the issues facing many Americans these days, especially those who are approaching retirement age, the management of their money is of paramount concern. Now, while some are certainly adept enough to handle investments on their own, many, if not most, turn to outside professionals for help. And in that arena, there is a firm here on Long Island that has been handling their clients' investments for well over 30 years and has come to be regarded as a highly astute and very effective investment management firm. That company is the Signalert Corporation, headquartered here in Great Neck, where a staff of well over 20 people pay very close attention to their clients' investments. To learn more about this operation, we sat down for a conversation with the company's president, Gerald Appel.
What we actually do is kind of help people fulfill their financial dreams and live life the way they hope to live it as they get older and as they try to accumulate money to do the things they want to do at some point in their life. This could be anything from retiring in a better way to putting their kids through college, or more and more what's happening nowadays is that grandparents are subsidizing their grandchildren in one size, shape, or form. And what this has to do is to do this, you have to make money grow. Here's one strategy that we do recommend for almost all investors, and that involves maintaining a very well-diversified portfolio. By diversified, I mean that different segments of the portfolio represent different market areas which tend not to rise and fall at the same time. So here's a portfolio that we create for clients which involves 7 different market sectors that are not really related to each other, except in the sense that they're investments. One is real estate, which kind of goes its own way. Food and agriculture, which is a commodity and which will tend to rise and fall with inflation. Insurance, which is a financial industry which tends to relate very closely to the stock market. Utilities, which go their own way and tend to be related to interest rates and to energy demands. They're very closely related to oil at this point. Global investors includes gold, which tends to rise with inflation as well. Healthcare does its own thing and goes its own way. And AIM Leisure, surprisingly enough, the leisure market moves very closely with the Standard & Poor's 500. So this is a portfolio. The different pieces of it are not necessarily joined together, but move in their own way at their own times. Though each of them tend to give the same rates of return, actually, they do it in different times, and the risk levels drop because they decline at different times.
When a client calls and has any questions, or if we call a client to see if they have any changes in their lifestyle, or if there's anything that we could do for them to make them happier with us, Gerald and Marvin are all part of it, the team, the portfolio manager, the operations officer, my department. Everyone will pitch in and try to change something to make the client happier.
Another thing that we do for clients, and we recommend that people do, is there are often special opportunities available in the stock market that are not widely recognized. Now, if you look around in the markets, there are crevices, little known by most investors, where you can get considerably more yield and where you can even buy certain mutual funds where you pay 85 cents, maybe 90 cents for dollars worth of bonds.
I take pride in the fact that we care very deeply about our clients. They're our #1 priority, and we do everything we can to ensure their investments are the best they could be for that particular client. We pick the best funds. We allocate diversely so that no one client should get hurt if one part of their portfolio happens to have a hit in the market.
If you can constantly be in the leading performing funds, and the funds that are leading in performance, leaders tend to maintain their leadership for at least a while. So we have a large segment of client assets that are placed into mutual funds that are selected because their performance over periods of 3 months to a year are in the top 10% of all mutual funds that are available.
Really trying to make people's dreams come true. Preserving capital, making money, either for vacations or college education for the kids, or especially for retirement.
By applying certain timing models, you improve performance, decrease risk, and avoid the kind of losses that occurred even to the best funds during bear markets such as we saw from 2000 to 2002. Now again, some of this is hypothetical back research. We have not been applying this strategy for all these years, but I am happy to say that to the extent that we have applied it, it has met all our expectations.
You won't want to lose money for clients. You want to lose as little as possible and get the return on your investment.
These are strategies that we advise individual investors, whether they manage, whether they place capital with us or do it on their own, to try to apply themselves.
What's the typical picture of a client that you represent?
Average age of investment clients nowadays is older than it has been. It seems to be getting older with time. Although our average client is someplace approaching or past retirement age, a little bit past middle age. Younger people often don't have the assets available for investing. They're busy putting kids through school. People tend to have their greatest earning capacity in their 50s and tend to be saving the most money starting at around that time.
My goal is to make as much money for clients as we possibly can while we control the risk.
So explain to me how you work with clients. What's the routine here?
Our fees are based upon the amount of assets that the client has with us. They pay us a certain portion of their assets, which varies a bit depending upon the size of assets. To this extent, we represent them with brokerage houses to secure the lowest possible commissions, and because of the amount of money we manage, we have some pretty good negotiating clout.
We worry about every client's money the same as we worry about our own, if not more. We're very safety conscious, and we keep a close eye on everyone's investments, and we're not afraid to. In fact, we're eager to make whatever changes need to be done in order to keep every client invested where we think he or she ought to be in view of evolving market conditions.
In order to become a client here, Jerry, is there a minimum amount that someone needs to invest?
Yeah, we have a minimum, which is very low compared to most management companies, and it's basically around $50,000. Assets have a way of growing, and we prefer for clients to start with us at a level of investment under our management that they feel comfortable with. And we find that small accounts have a way of growing into larger accounts, and smaller clients have a way of referring larger clients.
You know, Jerry, this firm has been around really a long time, over 30 years now. What do you attribute your success to?
A lot of things. Have good people. I think we have good methods. I think we mean what we say. I think people sense that we mean what we say. We have a reputation as an honest firm.
Jerry, when someone becomes a client here, how much information do you give them, and how often do they hear from you?
Most of the time they will get a confirmation of every trade we make, so they can constantly keep track of what's happening. They will normally get a quarterly report, but they also have access to us, and they can call us any day, and we can give them usually within 10 minutes evaluation of their account.
And when someone becomes a client, do you depend on them to give you instructions on how they want their money invested, or when they give you money, they're turning it over to you and you then handle it?
Placing the capital with us on a discretionary basis, we will start by laying out a plan for them, but once we start, we have full authority to make all trading decisions, and we advise them of what we have done, but we do not want to be calling them and saying, I think you should do it, and then having to negotiate with them whether they want to do it or not want to do it. They have to trust us.
I guess the bottom line question is, how are you doing for your clients?
We have a long-standing history of pretty consistently outperforming the stock market, not each and every year, but certainly over the long run, with much less risk than the stock market has taken as a whole. Most of our clients went through the bear market, for example, with relatively small losses, if at all. We did a really good job of preserving capital. I don't think we had any client who lost more than the market. When we had the big crash in 1987, October 19th, we were 95% in cash on that day.
We have to focus a lot more carefully on getting the right mix of investments in a portfolio. So the future is going to be about looking at a wide array of investment options and making the right choices and the right mix for clients.
There you are, an inside look at a most unique investment management firm, Signalert Corporation. I'm Doug Llewellyn reporting from Great Neck, Long Island.